Do you remember the first time you logged in or walked into a Toastmaster meeting? At Adobe, Sandra nervously took the plunge to join their club because a member came up to her and offered her to mentor. Now, 35 years later, Sandra, a Pathways evangelist, is working on her 24th Toastmaster mentee. She's enjoyed working with first-time Toastmasters as well as those planning to build a professional or speaking coaching business. Over the years, she has collected a list of best practices for working closely with each other to achieve their unique goals. She'll be sharing with you the benefits of a mentor or working with a mentor and has some creative ideas to make the relationship mutually beneficial. Please welcome Sandra Savage.
Thank you, Sue. And yes, I do have some creative ideas. I'm also known as the hippy dippy Toastmaster. So these are not your standard Toastmaster practices, but the ones that I have found to be the most effective. Now, before we begin, I have a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, how many of you have been mentored? Raise your hands. Okay. How many of you have been a mentor? Wonderful. That's good to know ahead of time. Before we get into mentoring, let's talk about what Sue mentioned, that guest experience, what it's like to walk into a Toastmasters meeting, not know anybody. Maybe it's their first ever Toastmasters meeting and they barely know what Toastmasters means, or much less what you do and what's in it for them. Keep remembering what's in it for them. Is their experience good? If it's not good, you're not going to need mentors. So how do you know if your meeting is good? How about if you attend your next meeting as a guest? Are you welcomed? Are you sent the agenda in the chat? How about a welcome card, letting people know what the club is about? We're there to help you and we'll offer you a mentor. You are most likely to get your guests to turn into mentors or into members if the experience is high quality, beneficial, and they're being offered as help in getting started. So the couple things you might also want to keep in mind as the guest experience, and I could spend all 20 minutes giving you horror stories, but I'm sure you've all had a few of your own, where you've attended another meeting and you weren't acknowledged. You had no idea what was going on. You were called on first for table topics. You finally decided, well, I really need this, or my boss told me I have to join Toastmasters. I know a few of us that have had that happen. I was told to get rid of my Minnesota accent. Are you a quality club? Or are you going to sit through boring speeches, business meetings? Please. A guest doesn't want to know about what's under the hood. Keep those for a separate time. So let's talk about the conversion. You've turned this member or this guest into a member. Free e-cards are a good idea to keep in contact with your guest and make them feel as if they were welcome. And especially if you write a little something you noticed about them as a personal message, it shows you're paying attention and that they are important to you. Now, you've joined. Now what? Well, I'm going to hand out to you a 3-page beautiful handout. You can't see it very well, but I am a graphic designer. Feel free to use this. I could also provide it to you without my name, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. On how to work with your new member. First of all, wouldn't it be great if at your first meeting as a new member, someone got up and told everybody rice, where you can play word games and prizes of kernels of rice are given to the needy, which is a wonderful way to learn and give back to the world. I have a whole list of resources, from suggested speeches to articles online and even to a couple free Kindle books that you would like to have your mentee know about and get. I also have my mentees evaluate my speeches. I don't just help them with theirs, but train them what to listen for, what to look for. Oh, I need to add that to my resource list. What to look for. I have a list. Like, can you paraphrase the speech a day after? Do you remember what the key point was? If I convince you to be a mentor and then don't ask you to do something about it, I missed an opportunity. You need to teach your mentee how to use their speech for a call to action. That's why we talk, to educate, influence, persuade, entertain, whatever it is. Make sure that your mentee knows how to write a speech with purpose that asks for action. Then it's very important that there's a really good understanding of the relationship of mentee to mentor. Everything said should be confidential. You should respect each other, treat each other with courtesy. If for some reason you have a mentor or mentee that you do not get along with ethically, religiously, what have you, for a valid reason, you have your new guest, your new member has every right to ask for, or vice versa, someone else, because you need to be able to work with each other without feeling tight and uncomfortable about it. Also, make sure your mentee as a mentor, because you're all going to agree to be a mentor by the end. I'm warning you right now. Your mentee has to agree to respect your time. No calls, no shows. I give my mentees one no call, no show. If I'm not informed 24 hours before that we need to reschedule or I can't make it, what have you, let's respect each other's time. So I mentioned the word of the day as a great way to get your mentee involved. How about the second week, the two of you, count the ahs and ums together. The sooner you start hearing those, the sooner you're going to get rid of them in your speech. And we all need a refresher course on that as well. So that's a great thing for you to do the second week. Get your mentee involved in the roles. Get them to sign up. Don't force them to do an icebreaker their first week. Ease them in, let them enjoy the meetings, make them feel valued and that they can and are able to be an equal participant. The other thing is, I have a whole checklist for you. And how am I doing on time? Perfect. Get them to participate in table topics, but as I mentioned at the very beginning, don't have them be the first one, at least not for the first few meetings. Let them see how others do it. That's really important. Okay, let's talk about pathways. When do you throw that one at them? Not till you get to know them. How can you suggest a path that's going to work for them if you don't know what their goals are? You need to be an interviewer. You have to be Dan Rather. You have to ask a bazillion questions so that you can best use your mentees and your time as well. Also work with them on a couple key things like their bio that goes up on your website. Help them write that. Again, I don't want to know about your 14 grandchildren. That has nothing to do, well, hopefully, with your future goals. That may be a part of your life, but is not what you're going to be speaking about. So it really doesn't need to be in your bio. But more importantly, is learning to write an intro. And this is something is my latest soapbox. You should all teach your mentees and get into the habit yourself of writing a intro for every single speech you give, not the same one. Because unless you're given the same speech 2 different times, you should not have the same intro. So write an intro that's relevant, that establishes your credibility, gets your audience enthused. Do not read the Pathways Project as an intro. Snore. Okay. So I have a whole list of things for you to go through with your mentee. Don't go ad nauseum onto the Toastmaster wears many hats. Just provide them with the PDF. And if you don't have it already, get them a link to the Pathways catalog. This allows them to look at their path and their projects on a piece of paper or in an Acrobat window without having to log into Pathways. And since level 1 is the same for every single path, number 1, those habits should be repeated in every single speech you give for the rest of your life, including how to write a good speech, but also your body language, your vocal variety, which I'm still working on. I know. I also been told to smile more. You can give that feedback to your mentee after they give their speeches. Have them practice with you before they give their first speech. Wouldn't it be easier to have your deodorant die in a practice session than in a club meeting? And I can tell you some horror stories, like being on stage with Steve Jobs and getting cut from 20 minutes to 2. That was a deodorant dying moment. Work with your mentee on the level 1s without making them go into base camp. Without going through all, yeah, thank you, Sue. You just rolled your eyes. You know, we all know what that means. Give them all the level 1 materials yourself. Get them acclimated before you throw the yucky stuff at them. Also, provide them with what Sue just did, the timer backgrounds. And just like we all have, the backgrounds for our club. Make your member feel a part of your group as soon as possible. Also, you know, whether you give them the list of speeches to watch on their own or watch them together, that's up to you. But I want to tell you, watching them together and then evaluating someone else's speeches so that that person's not in the room, they can't hear what you say. But evaluate that speech together. Figure out what worked, what didn't work. They're going to get a sense that you're invested in them and helping them along the way. And it's going to get easier and easier. I highly recommend, if you haven't already seen my Pathways presentation, contact me. I would love to come to you. John will be my front man on that. It is a whole new and exciting way to look at Pathways. And what you're going to end up with is people fighting over spaces on your agenda because they want to do their speeches. And you're going to have speeches that you want to hear, you want to remember, and are going to make a difference. I hope I have given you enough to whet your appetite, if you haven't already been a mentor, to be a mentor. And that is the best thing you can do, is to help your club members know how easy it is to be a mentor. So many people are afraid to be a mentor because they don't know how. So I've given you an overview, and Sue, I'll put in the chat to everybody because I updated it since I last gave it to you. I'm going to put into the chat box here the PDF as well as the JPEG of a really good resource for you. And this is what I use with my mentees. If you want to have a contract, I didn't include mine, but have a contract or at least an agreement that says, I respect you, you'll respect my time, we're working together, we're a team, I'm here to make you succeed. And we're out of time, just like that.
Thank you, Sandra. We do have time for about 5 minutes of questions. There was a question put into chat. asks, let's see, any tips for mentoring mid-level Toastmasters? And that's asked by Jackie.
Jackie, I have quite a few Toastmasters who are not newbies. They are very experienced, but now they want to do something different, like become a professional coach, life coach, performance coach, or a public speaker. That's a new goal. Help them with their planning. More importantly, help them by evaluating them privately. We all get that, oh, that was such a great speech for our evaluations, but we need someone to be honest with us. And the reason we're going for that honesty is so it can be corrected, not as an insult, but as a course correction, or this is how I heard it. I want you to go and suggest a friend to hear it as well. Get another set of ears on it. And remember, this is something a lot of people don't realize. You paid that $20 for that path. That path is yours. If you do a lousy job on a speech, give it again. No extra charge. If you feel you need to do more of your electives than the 2 required, 1 required, 1 required, do them all. It's your money, you paid for it. And please ask your club to listen to your speech through the ears of the person you intend to give it to eventually. Put that in your intro for your introducer, that 100 to 140 words your introducer is going to give right before each different speech. If you're going to be positioning your speech for a specific purpose, crowd, reason, have that in your intro. It will help your members listen through those ears and give you the feedback. And use your club. How many brains do we have in this room? 21. We probably have about 80 different skills in this room. I'm not the end all to be all on any one topic, but we all have knowledge that we can share and help each other. If I say I need help marketing my new cookbook, and Sue says, oh, I've done that before. That is what Toastmasters are good at, helping each other.